Me and the Lord, we got an understanding.
We're on a mission from God.
I'm the diggy doctor, pumping it, yes, y'all. DOC on necessity, kicking fresh, y'all. Letting the bass go and flow, it's all so I can play.
Hey, welcome back to Patriots Behind the Mic. I'm your host, Dr. Z, not a real doctor, but neither is Fauci, neither is Jill Biden, who has COVID again. Ugh. God, I talked to a family member today whose family actually did the masking and the jabs. They're definitely not doing any of that again. And they actually told me that a lot of their liberal friends are even saying they're not going to do it again. So look, this is a very interesting time. They're going to try this shit again. They're running the exact same playbook, but really interestingly, it's not going to play out the same way. We don't know how it's going to play out because we don't know who will put their money where their mouth is. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about tonight. I'm distracted by 30 things. I was actually, while the intro was playing, I just started reading the Tucker Carlson. There's a clip about Obama's gay lover. And I started reading and I was like, hey, dude, you got to stop. You're about to go on there. There's so much going on. I had an interesting weekend. I don't know about you guys out there, but I had a very interesting weekend. That full moon last week really knocked me on my ass because here in Florida, it was also combined with another weather warfare attack, which thank God didn't affect us, but it did affect our neighbors a few hours up the state there. Watch them chemtrail and fuel that thing, watch them direct it. I'm going to be doing some more stuff about weather warfare because, there's a lot of people out there that are gotten so far that they know that the elections are being manipulated. Our medicines are being manipulated. Our food is being manipulated. Our media is being manipulated. Our politics are being manipulated. Our wars are being manipulated, but not the weather. They would never manipulate the weather, even though there's lots of proof and evidence that there is receipts-based proof, but there's also tons of circumstantial base. Anyway, I had a rough weekend. I was tired, agitated, didn't want to do much. I actually couldn't do much because what I do when I get in that cranky mode, I learned many years ago, I'm sort of like Bruce Banner, kind of turning into the Hulk in those situations. You don't want to see me when I'm angry. And so when I'm cranky and tired, I just lock myself in my room and sleep, watch movies, eat, and try and sleep it off. And that mostly worked. But then something very interesting happened because during that time, and I just put out a Substack about this. I'll talk about that a little more in a minute. But during that time, I really was thinking a lot over the weekend, man, I am working my ass off and making almost nothing for it. Way less than $1 an hour. You guys know, if you watch this show, I don't do this for the money. It still does take a little pressure off and and help, because we are so programmed by the matrix. Not only does it help me be able to support myself, but also there is that psychological thing of like, I'm doing all this work and there isn't any money coming in. The payoff for me is not that. I do believe and hope that this will turn into more of a money-making venture as it goes along. We're going to talk about that tonight with our guest, Will J. Evans from America Rising Coffee, who's coming up. But before, I'm going to rant for a little bit. So I'm sitting there basically feeling sorry for myself. What am I doing? And not just feeling sorry for myself, but also like, God, am I supposed to be doing something else? Because I'm working my ass off and I'm literally making almost nothing doing it. And I'm not saying this to make you guys feel guilty. I'm just telling you what I went through and how I feel. So please don't feel pressured into supporting me more financially. But if you want to, you can. Anyway, so I'm just kind of grumpy going through that. And then I felt a little bit better on Monday. Monday, I slept most of the day. I did Glitch in the Matrix Monday night. Yesterday, I felt a little bit better. I started to get back into the routine of doing a little bit of work, but I mostly took it easy and kind of got my laundry done and things like that. And then I went to a General Assembly meeting last night, and I walk in the door, and like 5 people attacked me, right? Not attack, but like, oh my God, I saw your interview with SG&On. I'm like, oh, cool. They're like, oh, he posted it on his page. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I literally didn't know. Meanwhile, while I'm kind of bitter and cranky all weekend, I'm getting all these subscriptions on Substack. I'm getting all these new followers on Truth. I have no idea why. Well, it turns out that was why. And I'm telling you all this for a reason. And this is what is all wrapped up in detail in the Substack that I just put up, which is at zalosophy.substack.com. You can check it out, called Whatever You Do, Don't Quit. Because I felt like it this weekend. And ironically, the episode with SG&On was we talked a lot about, sometimes we go through these phases where we feel like quitting, but we're not going to quit. We don't quit. We just keep going. And it was very ironic because that's how I felt this weekend, but I didn't. And I'm back, and I worked like 12 hours straight before this. I've been just jamming, not 12 hours because I didn't get up that early, but like 10. But the thing was that, again, for me, the benefit is not money. The benefit is helping people, seeing people out there that really resonate with the messages that I bring forth and tell me that they find value in it and they find strength in it and they find hope in it. That's why I do this. That's the payment. And so now that episode with SG&On had 43,000 views on this page, but now it's got almost 100,000 on his page. So this is by far the biggest video that I've ever made, and by far the biggest reach. Even my book that I've told you guys about, Philosophy on Golf, that maybe sold about 10,000 copies, helped a lot of people. A lot of people really liked it. Philosophy on Golf, you can get it on Amazon. You can email me at z@philosophy.org if you want a signed copy. But that's why I do this. It's to help people. It's to have people tell me that, they saw an episode, they read something I wrote. It really helped them find a way to keep moving forward no matter what. That's what this is all about. That's what Zalosophy has been about way before I knew about the Great Awakening, way before I was awake to the corruption, which started with COVID. I was spiritually awake before that, and I knew that the time was going to come where humanity would find out the truth. I had no idea that it would be like this, anything like this. I thought it was going to be about aliens or something. And that when that happened, people would need someone like me and many others like me to help them find a way forward during really difficult and dark times. And so it's happening, right? And so as I'm lying there miserable thinking, is it even working? Does anyone even care? Boom. God says, maybe you should quit being a whiny little bitch and I'll take care of this for you. Of course, he didn't use those words. I'm paraphrasing. But the point is that, when we can all find despair, we can all get caught up in despair, and we can all feel like we want to quit, and we just can't. Like, literally the only thing we have to do is to show up and to just keep going no matter what. So sorry, just got a distracting text while I'm talking. So that's enough about that. Again, check it out on Substack. And I do want to give a shout out to Winters, who's in the chat. I don't think Grow Wizard is here today or yet, or Ghost of Base Patrick Henry, but these are 3 people in my audience that have become friends. They've been on my shows, and you guys have inspired me with your writings on Substack. I see that you're doing them. I haven't read them all, Winters. I have your latest one, your latest two saved that I need to read. But the fact that you guys have been through a lot too, and you just keep going and you're sharing yourselves and you're helping, as Dan Radio Style calls it, it's the ripple effect, right? So we got to just keep going. One more announcement, and then we're going to get right to it. We're only going to have one sponsor today. I'll tag the other sponsors quickly at the end of the show, but this show is all about America Rising Coffee. Awake, not woke. Enjoy the smooth taste of liberty. But before I get to that, I am going to be at the Great American Restoration Tour this weekend in Cocoa Beach, Florida. It's the Badlands Media Conference. I'm going to be there now, it turns out, Friday and Saturday. And I'm just going to be hanging out, talking to the Badland podcasters and to the Badland audience members. John said to me, hey, maybe we'll try and put you on a panel. I'm like, hey, if you want to, man, go for it. I'm always ready, but don't feel pressured to do that. I just want to meet you guys. I just want to hang out. I've been blessed to be the Patriot Street Fighter tour manager and been to dozens and dozens of patriotic events and have gotten to meet many of the podcasters that you guys follow and you guys love and know. And I've got to meet them in person, which I always recommend because you get a real sense of a person when you meet them in person. You get to shake their hand. You get to be around their energy. I could tell you there are a handful of people that when I did that, I was very unimpressed. I won't tell you who they are because that's not important. What's important is for you to go and meet people like that and do that on your own, see what you think, not for me to tell you what I think. And in the end, anybody who's a phony or a grifter or whatever, they're all going to be outed in the end. So, it is what it is. But anyway, let's get ready. So let's bring on our guest here. Will J. Evans is the founder of America Rising Coffee. He reached out to me through my merchandise website. By the way, that link is in the description. There's all kinds of new merchandise. If you're a fan here, go check that out. But he reached out to me through my merchandise website and said, hey, I've got this new product and I want you to be the sponsor. I'm like, well, how'd you find me? Well, I found you on Rumble and you were the first guy I found. And I just thought I really liked the way you do shows. And I want you to promote my product. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. Can't imagine how I'm the first guy you found, but here I am. And here is Will J. Evans. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Can you hear me?
Can hear you just fine. The video is going to be a little glitchy. We talked about guys out there. He's got a laptop that just doesn't work. He's sitting in not only is he dressed professionally and showing me up on my own show, but this back here is a green screen. What you see there on his side is a real podcaster studio. Will used to be in sports broadcasting, so he does have a professional broadcasting background, and he's going to be doing a podcast about coffee and a podcast about Montana. And I think that's enough about me introducing you. I think that's all I know about you of the few conversations we've had.
There's not much more to know.
Yeah, well, I believe there is. And when we talked the other day, I was like, so we'll just tell your story. You're like, well, I don't have one. Listen, well, everybody has a story, but let's do it the easy way. Let's tell the story of America Rising Coffee, because that's why we're here. And guys, before I let him start, I want to tell you, not only is this, I'm a branding expert. If you look on my LinkedIn page, which I haven't looked at in like 4 years, you can see that. I used to be in entertainment and branding. Like, this is one of the better brands I've seen in a long time, maybe one of the best patriotic brands ever. But also, the coffee is delicious. And so please click the link in the description, go to americarisingcoffee.com, use promo code DRZ393 and get yourself some. You can help Will out. You can help me out. You can help fund the show, as I was just whining about how little money I make doing this. All right. Sorry.
Well,
man.
I hope we can help you out in that. As a matter of fact, before we came on today, I checked the sales, and you've had a little bit of movement there.
Oh yeah. Well, I haven't been getting the email updates. Did you turn that off, or did I turn that off?
Did you say you haven't got them?
No, I remember I got the first one. Or maybe I haven't. I just haven't noticed. Anyway, that's good to hear. That
Well,
we won't get
I'll
too
take
into
a
the
look and make
details
sure.
of that. But that's good to hear. I'm glad people are buying this coffee. Guys, we have to support patriotic businesses. And I'm not going to go on another rant. I promised myself I wouldn't. I want Will to talk. But we have to support patriotic brands and businesses. And this is a great one. So, Will, why coffee? How did you get into this? Let's start at the beginning.
It's a long story, but I'll try to give you the Reader's Digest version. I have another business. It's actually the foundational business of the coffee. It's called County Line CNC. And in that business, I design and make all sorts of different products in various metals, slate, acrylic, wood, all sorts of different products. Well, when President Trump was still in office, it was at the point where we were looking at expanding the shop, bringing on some help. But when Mr. Biden got into office, all that went away. I mean, literally the day he came into office, and I'm not saying it's his fault, but just saying.
But
sales
you are
went
saying you don't believe in coincidences.
Well, you know, I do look at the science.
Right.
Sales went to just about zero and have never come back. And my wife and I, who's my business partner, my life partner, my boss,
Smart man.
we were discussing this and decided, we have got to do something that has more appeal in a wide audience, a large market. And we love our coffee. And in the conversation, we got to talking also about how many companies are going woke or have gone woke. And how do you know
Especially
which
in the
ones?
coffee sector. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And I just found a site where you can look that up today.
Yeah,
Anyway.
is that Woke Alerts?
Oh, that's another site.
Yeah, so I get Woke Alerts.
Okay.
And I don't remember how I signed up, but there's a Woke Alert consumers research. I got an alert today about Kaiser Permanente Hospital. So there's lots of stuff like that. But coffee is filled with the coffee industry is filled with the hipster hair and the piercings and all that stuff. But Americans, just regular old Americans, like their coffee. We don't need it to be fancy and have a cool, logo on it or whatever. I mean, yours does, but we just want good coffee. We want it to know that the people selling it to us share our values, right? Isn't that the same with any company these days?
That's right. And we decided at that point then, when we saw that some of our favorite coffee companies had gone that direction, let's do something about it. Well, did you know that coffee is an actual science? I mean, there's laboratories and studies and testing and something called cupping and all sorts of things.
Hey, and this isn't that kind of show, Will.
Well, that's how. No, I hope not. That's how you determine the quality of the coffee. And one of the things that we've grown weary of too is less than quality coffee. Everywhere you go, it seems it's acidic, bitter.
Yes.
Just doesn't taste good. And that's not what we want. We have found some coffees that were just amazing, but we lost track of those over the years. So since there's such a science and there's so much involved in coffee production, we decided, what if we could find somebody to roast it for us to our specifications? That way we don't have to put in $1 million of equipment and personnel and building and all that goes along with that.
Yeah.
Well, that's a tall order, but we did. We found one. And
in
these
California,
guys
of all places, right?
Of all places, right? And it's a family-owned operation, and they've been around forever. And they actually listened to us. We've had great discussions, and they're not woke, and they're doing everything that we want them or need them to do. Plus, and this is the big plus, they've established personal relationships with the farmers around the world. They even visit them regularly, making sure that everything is being done according to what they need and what we need. And specialty coffee, which this is, has some requirements right from the farm. So they do all that for us. So they've built up the foundation that we wanted to build and need. And what we can do now is put this out. And, you know, America Rising Coffee, and I know it says on this graphic, select coffee. That's an error. It's supposed to be specialty coffee.
Oops.
And I'll get you a correct one.
Can you get me a new graphic?
I'll get you the right one.
I can actually fix it while we're doing this, but I don't want to distract myself.
Yeah, that's all good. That was my fault.
You know, to me, you almost don't even see that really. Again, from a branding perspective, for me, I see America Rising. You kind of glance by that, and then you go right to Awake, Not Woke, which is one of the best taglines of any product I've ever heard. Because you could say that any product could use that tagline, right? If you're awake and you're not woke, but not everybody's selling coffee. So it doesn't have
kind of a dual.
It really does. And then of course you hit it home hard with the enjoy the smooth taste of liberty. And already like, I want to drink 3 gallons of the stuff. I just want to drink liberty all day.
Yeah. And I drink a lot more now with this coffee because it is so smooth and so tasteful and no acid. My stomach doesn't hurt. I can enjoy it. Yeah. And I drink a pot a day now. It's well, just so good.
You kind of have to, right? I mean, you're the coffee guy now. You can't.
Well, I don't have to, but I do.
Well, I mean, you kind of do because otherwise you're just inauthentic, and you're like, oh, there's the patriotic coffee guy drinking tea. Like it doesn't work. So you're locked in, buddy. You're locked in, just like me. I mean, I got to drink this stuff too. When you sent this to me, first thing I said was, dude, this is a great brand. Let's figure out the terms and make sure it works for everybody. But as long as the coffee isn't gross, I'm in. And guys, I can tell you, not only is it not gross, it's delicious. And my mom and dad are in the chat. Mom doesn't drink coffee, but dad does every day. He drinks a pot a day too. But
they're in the chat?
Yeah, he mixes it with half decaf.
Oh, hi.
So dad loves your coffee. And
that's awesome.
He can speak for himself. But the way I know he loves it is my dad's a very unique guy. So he loves his routine. Yes, but different, unique in many ways. He likes his routine. I like routine too. I just don't have one. It's just chaos all the time. But anyway, not the point. So he gets up, he makes his coffee, he listens to whatever he listens to, and when he gets into a coffee he likes, that's it. So about a year ago, I had to rip him away from Starbucks. I'm like, Dad, you can't drink this shit anymore. These people are commies. They hate our country. I don't care if it's the best coffee you ever had, which it isn't. You got to stop. So we got him onto Mike Lindell's coffee, and he got into that, and that was his routine. And then you came along, and I was like, Dad, you got to try this. And so I bring it to my dad. He drinks it, and he goes, not bad. Now, you might think, well, that's not a great review, but you don't know my dad. On day one, not bad is like, wow, it's fucking great. And by day 3, he was like, wow, I really like this stuff.
Wow, that's awesome.
So you got
that's great to hear.
You got Papa Z's endorsement.
Wow, and, that's huge. Thank you.
And guys, I wouldn't be saying that, yes, it's a Patriot, and maybe I could be conned into being a little too nice. I'm not overstating it. It's really, really good. And again, we need to recreate every industry. I've mentioned on past episodes about how we're working on a music and comedy festival, and not just a music and comedy festival, but a foundation that will change the entire face of the entertainment business, celebrating independent artists, where artists like John Rich and Oliver Anthony and Jim Brewer and Roseanne Barr, who do their own thing and they don't become part of the machine, they're going to be the future of the industry. All artists need to start learning how to be business people too. But this is going to have to happen in every industry. Every industry is going to need to be cleaned up from all the woke communist jerks. And coffee is a big one. And we need to support local small businesses. We know with COVID, they made it very clear first time, and they're going to try it again. They're literally and out in the open in broad daylight trying to kill small business in this country so that we, the people, don't have power. If they choke out our money, we'll beg for communism and beg for the scraps at Longshank's table, to use a Braveheart reference. But, you know, so talk to me about that, Will, about how you and your wife feel that you have an important role to play in helping small business survive in this country, but also reinventing an industry that it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? And you're just a small little mom and pop, literally. But this type of thing could really catch on. What if you become the Oliver Anthony of coffee, and then all of a sudden everybody's drinking this?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Just save some for me.
Yeah. Well, talk to us about, like, you know, when you get into this, you're thinking, wow, we're really going to have to, you know, put our money where our mouth is. We're going all in. We want to help try and save small business, recreate the coffee industry from on a micro level, and hope that it turns macro. What was that experience like?
Yeah, it's not an easy task. You know, any business owner can tell you that, and will tell you that. It's just nonstop worry, frustrations over many different things. I'm really excited to see so many people starting little businesses and trying to make a dent in their markets. And that's what we all need to be doing. If you have any kind of skills or talents, get out there and put them out there. Don't let the big guys have all the fun. They're not doing it right to begin with. They're putting their money in China. Oh, we don't need to do that. We have enough talent and resources here, so let's do that. And what America Rising Coffee, it's really, when I came up with the slogan, it's kind of a middle finger to the establishment. I've always been looking for ways to do that in kind of a classy way instead of just doing that. You know, the whole Brandon thing.
Yeah,
a lot of people have started businesses with that, and that's a middle finger in their face too. But it's a little classier.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I mean, again, look at your setup and look at mine. You're obviously the classy version of what I'm doing in a different sector in the coffee world. But, you know, I appreciate the classy middle finger because, you know, me, I'm just, you know, I'm Italian and Armenian. When you piss me off, there's no classy middle finger. You're getting double barrel middle finger to the face. And, you know, I think, again, as much as we're joking about that, Will, that is part of the American spirit. That's what this country was founded on.
That's right.
Screw you and your kingdom and all your great things that you guys think you have. We don't want it. Leave us alone. We want to do our own thing over here. That is the American middle finger, how this country was founded. And we've all lost our way, and we're all responsible for that. I always tell people, which is the same as me telling myself and reminding myself, we're responsible for this failure of our government, not them. We are the government. We, the people, created the government. They work for us. They are below us. They are literally subservient to us. And I'm not even trying to be antagonistic. That's just literally how it is. But we don't act like that.
Yeah, that's right.
We act like they're our masters.
Put them there, but they're supposed to do our bidding once they're there. And then they're supposed to come home and do their regular 9-to-5 job. They're not supposed to be making millions of dollars in various ways.
By
sitting in the Capitol.
By poisoning coffee and giant conglomerates.
Yeah.
You know, that's another thing is, you know, that when it's a patriotic company like this, you know that Will is taking this very seriously. he's found a partner that's sourcing and roasting all of their coffee that goes to these farms, as he said, and Will goes to their factory and their facilities. He's out there looking at this. Sure, they have quality control at Pete's Coffee and Starbucks, but what's their quality control? Oh, you didn't put enough poison in there. Why don't you add a little more? You know?
Yeah, you don't know. That's the problem. You know, you look at all this bioengineered food now, more and more. I've been doing a little research on that, and just about, it seems, everything we eat has some kind of bioengineering aspect to it.
Yeah, it's. I mean, look.
Guess we all need to get our victory gardens going again, like we did
yeah.
back in World War II, right?
Well, you heard me in the opening where they're poisoning our food, they're poisoning our air, they're poisoning our water, they're manipulating our elections, they're manipulating and creating wars so that they can benefit. They're doing all this stuff. And we're just sitting there going, well, what do? Well, we have to stop them. We have to take over all of those things little by little, piece by piece. And that's why this is not just a cool story about a great American brand. It is that too. But this is an actual battlefront of the war. We're taking back coffee because screw them.
Yeah.
They don't get
and we are at war. We really are.
We are. And I'm not saying that just to be sensationalist. I mean that. Will, you've really created a battlefront whereby we, the people, we, the patriots of America, can take back coffee. Now, I don't know that you're the only one. Maybe there are other patriotic coffees. I know that there are. There's been some other veteran-owned coffee brands out there, and that's all great. Again, just like music, just like entertainment, just like the health industry, just like any industry, we need to come at them from all fronts. And there's plenty to go around. These people have been siphoning our money for hundreds, if not thousands of years. They've convinced us that we live in a world of scarcity, so we compete against each other, but that's not true. We live in a world of abundance. And there's plenty of coffee being drank around the world that your brand and several other patriotic brands can coexist and help each other. And I just want to bring this up here and show people some of the coffees that you have. Now you're going through the FDA process of getting these approved label by label so that you're doing everything right. And I appreciate that. I promised myself, and I didn't say it out loud to you, but I'll say it now. I'm not going to say all the bad things I normally say about the FDA on the show because I don't want them to get wind of this somehow and slow down your process and make your life miserable more miserable. I will say it that way because the process of going through these approvals is tedious. But there's a lot of stuff up there now, guys, already. And one thing I want to highlight here, Will, too, is that we support our veterans, dog tag buddies. That a portion of every purchase of America Rising coffee goes to support dog tag buddies who provide service dogs for veterans. This is an amazing thing. It's not a small thing. Service dogs for veterans, if you don't know this, is one of the most important things. I've met several veterans that have had service dogs, and you can't imagine the difference that it makes for them. So if you needed another reason to buy America Rising coffee, you're going to help Will, who's starting a patriotic business, middle fingering the coffee industry. You're going to help veterans get service dogs so that they can deal with their PTSD. And you're going to help me be able to continue to create this content. So if you're a coffee drinker, please at least try it. Now, I've heard people say, well, it's a little bit expensive. Yeah, it is, because it's high quality and it's a patriotic small business. It should be. Mind you, I'll let you tell this in detail if you want, but I know this because we've talked and I know this industry a little bit. The margins are very small. So it's not like Will's jacking the price up and getting rich off a few bags of coffee here. He's going to have to sell hundreds of thousands of bags of coffee before he can ever get rich. And that's okay, because you're not doing this just for money. You're doing this to make a difference, which is how I started the opening of this show. As long as we don't quit, as long as we keep going and we find a way forward, each one of us with whatever our own talents are, pick a lane, pick a battlefront. There's so many things to choose from. We can make a difference. And I just want to say one more thing, Will, and then I'll tag you back in here. I know for a fact, because Orion Remington is a friend of mine who's been on this show. He's one of your other first sponsors. He lives in Montana like you do. So he's told me, dude, I know that they're actually giving the money to Dog Tag Buddies, because if they're not, they'll tell me, because it's such a small area and such a small town. So I can confirm it's not just for show. The money actually does go to get service dogs for veterans. So go ahead, Will, whatever you want to say about that last rant.
No, that is a concern. You never know for sure if the money you think you're giving to someone is actually getting there. Dog Tag Buddies is just up the road. Well, everything in Montana is just up the road.
Right.
It takes us 40 miles just to go get groceries.
Right.
And that's one way.
By the way, one of the things I love about
road.
that state is it's so spread out and so beautiful that's
it
the way
really
you should
is.
be living. You guys are doing it right over there.
Yeah, we try. Come on up. We'll show you around.
Oh, believe me.
Yeah, Dog Tag Buddies is up the road from us about an hour or so, and they too are a small business, veteran owned. Great bunch of people there doing a lot of great things for. I'm starting to sound like Trump. For great people, but sounding like Trump is fine with me.
Yeah,
anyway,
I was going to say, there's some people that would give you crap for that, not in this group. And there's, from what we've learned over the last few years, there's way worse people to sound like than that guy. You could sound like a in the closet gay president, but you
who
don't.
would that be?
Yes, Big Mike. So listen, already getting some great stuff from the chat here, Will. The British American Patriot, who's another podcaster and someone that I can connect you with about getting his own promo code, but he also says, I might be able to help Will with supply chain if needed. Well, that's awesome. Ooh. I will definitely connect you guys, British American Patriot, because you should be selling this coffee. It really is good. And if you're a coffee drinker, I know you're going to love it. But guys out there, if you want to help Will, the biggest thing right now is helping the distribution chain. Where can we help him sell this product?
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead, Will.
No, that's great. I appreciate that. That's exactly right. We do need help getting it out to the masses, and we're working in other directions to do just that. But even more important, how do I say this that you haven't maybe already said? Yes, it's about coffee, but the coffee is really a segue into it's about us. I'm in my 60s now. I can't believe that. And I keep telling people that it's my generation's fault that we're in this problem. We grew up having it all, not having a care in the world. We just kind of looked the other way and wanted to get along. Okay, so this person has this view. That's fine. They can have that view. The problem is they don't stop with just having that view.
Never.
They keep pushing and unfortunately taking and never giving back. And so it's up to us to fix this thing.
Yeah. And
government isn't going to do it. Government is the problem. And we put them there. Therefore, we are the problem. So in order to fix that, we have to fix us. And we can do that over a cup of coffee and then get off our butts and get out there and get to work. Get on boards. Get on the school board. And we're seeing that happen now across the country. In fact, on our podcast, which is hopefully starting, I'm looking at my producer here, she says 1 week.
Oh, awesome.
I think I'm ready.
Oh, you're ready.
We're going to have a guest on there who's been involved in the school boards and so forth. And that'll be kind of interesting. But I'm losing my train of thought.
No, that's okay. I'm going to bring you back to that because I want to talk about your upcoming podcast so that we can promote that. But first, I got a chat here from my mom who says, Papa wants to know which blend is the darkest, oiliest, and smoky. You know what, Papa Z? This
Oh.
isn't that kind of show. Let's just say that, right? No.
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that.
Yeah, right. Don't answer that. That would be my advice, because there's no way you can answer that without someone creating an innuendo, even if there's not one that you want it to be there. But
what he should do is send me a message through the website,
okay,
and I will find a roast that I think will meet his palate.
perfect. You have no idea the work you just created for me, because the tech support of getting them to just do a live chat on a website is going to be extensive. But we're going to try that, because I'm always encouraging my parents, as they used to do to me when I was a little kid. They like, oh, well, help me with this thing. I'm like, no, you do it. Why? If I do it for you, then you don't know how to do it. Like, so we get in some funny battles on tech support and stuff like that, because
I get into that with my mom too. She's of Minnesota, and I'm on Team Viewer with her at least once a week.
I will say, Papa Z, that I did find out from Will yesterday that decaf is now America Rising coffee is now approved by the FDA in decaf. So that's going to be on the website soon, and you can start buying your decaf, because my dad's 80, so he drinks half high test, as he calls it, and half decaf, so that he is not wired and his heart's not pounding out of his chest and rushing to the hospital. Yeah. So
I think I added it to the site yesterday or this morning, one of the two. I think so.
Okay, I just looked. Did I see it? French roast toast coffee blend. I don't see it there. I just refreshed on the package. But either way, if it's not there now, it could be just on my side that I have a cache problem here or something. Yeah, no pun intended.
Well, I'll check too and make sure.
Yeah, but check that out.
Yeah, he's not the only one that has asked for decaf. A lot of people need to get rid of the caffeine in their life, but they still want that flavor, that nice warm, especially in the winter, a nice warm cup of coffee first thing in the morning. You know, the smell in the air, it wakes all your senses. It makes life good.
It does, and I agree. I've always enjoyed the smell and the taste of coffee, but for most of my life, I haven't really drank it until the last few years, because of what you said. The acidity would just kill my stomach, and also, like you said, the taste, the ultra bitter. It's just not my thing. But when we went to Italy for my mom's 75th birthday a few years ago, we were drinking all Italian espresso, and that stuff is like, you can rip it all day and all night. It doesn't hurt your stomach. It doesn't make you wired. Of course, your body's so overloaded with calories that it's burning. It's like it needs the fuel to do that. But no, I mean, again, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about the podcast now, but I can't recommend this enough. As Will said, as I said, it's not just about the coffee. The coffee is great. The brand is great. If you have this in your house and your Patriot friends come over and you pull it out and you go, check this out, America Rising Coffee, awake, not woke. They're going to go, that's awesome. Where do I get it? Which is the point. We want this to be a ripple effect where this company makes its mark in the coffee industry. And so that we have a patriotic brand that we can stand behind. So please, get out there and try it. But back to the podcast. We talked before, and I think you're going to eventually start 2 different podcasts, right? One about Montana and people in Montana, and one about coffee. Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, and we're still kind of in the planning stages of that too. If maybe we want to combine them into one. My wife and I love motorcycles, and so we take rides in this beautiful countryside. And
nice.
We have a GoPro camera on my helmet, and we'll probably add one to hers too before too long, and take some footage and make some videos. It's just so beautiful out here, and that'll be one segment of the show. And I think there are enough people around the country who would want to see that we could probably just meld that into America Rising.
Totally.
The podcast or vlog or whatever you call it,
right,
is called Empower US. empower us, empoweryou.s.
I love it. I love it.
And that's the whole premise of the coffee, really, too, is to empower you. Take a look at that label every morning. Get your coffee and I'll get out there and get her done.
Right.
And that's kind of what the podcast is going to be about, too, is people who are getting out there, getting on these boards, or not just getting on the boards, but at least standing up at various meetings, whatever they may be, and voicing what needs to be heard. How did you get involved with that? What were the obstacles? What happened during the thing that you did? And where are you now? What's going on? And how does someone else do this? Empower each other, people empowering people.
I love
That's
it,
the whole
man.
premise.
This is so cool. This is the first time I've heard the name of it. We've talked about the premise of it. It's fantastic. I love it. There's nothing more important. And even some of the best big name podcasters will tell you this too. Scott McKay's a good friend of mine. He says that all the time. All he's trying to do is inspire people to get involved and to peacefully and patriotically take and lawfully take our country back and create freedom that we've literally never had before. You said earlier, and I forgot to address it, that you blame your generation. Well, that's fine. You can take some of it, but we're all to blame for this, except for the kids that aren't old enough to blame yet. We've all been complacent and compliant in this BS system. We've all shirked our duty as we, the people, to be the government of the people, for the people, by the people. It's our job, not theirs. And once we do that, everything will change. And the way that we do that, like you just said, is by empowering each other. Now, also Montana, I'm not just saying this because you're here. It is my favorite state. And if I catch myself fantasizing ever throughout the day of when the war's over, what I would do, I would get a cabin in Montana. Maybe I wouldn't stay there all winter. Maybe I'd find somewhere else to go for part of the winter. But man, it's literally, to me, it's heaven on earth. I just absolutely love it. There's nothing but space and wildlife and nature. And this is how we're meant to live. So I'm saying that not just to tell people how great I think Montana is, but also to tell you, I think it should be a character in your show, your podcast, whatever you're going to call it, because it really is Wyoming and Montana, and even a little bit of Idaho there. They really represent what America was supposed to be, what it is, and what it could be. And I think that that's really important. We've gotten this idea about America and these cities, and we're so powerful and we're so great. We make all this money and we have all this commerce. It's a bunch of bullshit. America is at its greatest when we're all doing our own thing, supporting each other, helping each other, but leaving each other alone, and encouraging each other to be respectful also while doing that. But, give each other some space and support each other from a distance. And there's enough. Again, they tell us about scarcity, that the world is overpopulated. Really? Have you ever driven around this country? There's nothing but space everywhere, except for a few dots of cities that are overpopulated. And the people don't need to be there. They've just been convinced that that's the lifestyle and that's America. It's not true. Montana is America. And please don't get mad at me if a bunch of people start moving there. It's already happening, I know.
Yeah, it is. We've had a huge influx from blue states, and that's making an impact. Not exactly a positive one. Although I will say that we've had a lot of conservatives from blue states move here too. And that has kind of balanced out what the others are trying to do. And they don't mean to be destructive. That too. See,
they just can't help themselves.
They don't know any better. Several years ago, I was interested in the difference between a conservative mind and a liberal mind. Has anyone done studies on what the difference is? And yeah, somebody has. I found a couple white papers from two different liberal universities. And just to paraphrase, what they both found out was that a liberal mind just cannot see past or below the superficial nature of an issue. They can't see the underlying causes. They just it's not there.
Right. I mean, the perfect example of that is they're constantly talking about racism. Stop talking about it. That's the only thing that keeps that concept alive. And Morgan Freeman has a very famous quote: "You want to get rid of racism? Stop talking about it." It's very simple.
Right. That's right.
A couple of great comments from the chat I want to get to from on topic here. No fear of a 15-minute city popping up in Montana. Well,
want to bet?
Well, there is, because, you know, every state has been infiltrated, and there's woke parts of it by the colleges, by the cities.
Yep.
That's how they infiltrate. So
Bozeman is looking at it.
Yeah, exactly. Bozeman would be the place I would have mentioned. But also it reminds me of what a bartender told me in Wyoming once when I was on tour with Patriots Street Fighter, and I was coming out of Yellowstone Park, and I stopped at this lodge to get an elk steak and a beer. I'm talking to the bartender there, and he says, "Yeah, we have no crime in Wyoming." I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, everybody's got a gun, and they'll just shoot your ass if you're doing something stupid." I'm like, you know, again, this is what America should be, policing ourselves. There is no crime because there's enough patriotic people who aren't going to cower to woke BS agendas, and they're just going to handle what's right if they need to. They're not going around shooting people unnecessarily, for anybody that wants to attack me for saying that. Another great thing I want to mention from the chat from Winter65. I need a coffee that not only wakes me up, peps me up, but makes me feel pretty all day. LOL. Well, Winters, I think you just landed yourself the first commercial spot for American Rising Coffee, because that is a great little commercial. You know, you can see Winters there with their coffee cup. I need a coffee that wakes me up, perks me up, and makes me feel pretty inside all day. No, those are great guys.
Producer, let's talk.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, I can connect you with Winters too. You know, as I told you, I'm going to connect you with lots of people here. And I'm excited about this. I'm excited that, again, for me, it was a very unique experience. I'm pretty new at this. I've only been podcasting seriously for like almost 9 months now. And you're the first person who's reached out.
You're doing great.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I had done some of it before. And look, like I say this all the time, this is God-given gifts. I don't even like this. I don't like being on camera. I don't like being in the spotlight. I don't like attention being drawn to me. I don't prefer it. I'd rather sit in the corner and mind my own business. I'm serious.
I'm used to being behind the camera.
Yeah, exactly.
Doing editing and all that stuff.
Me too. I love that kind of stuff. But God has called me to do this and has given me the gifts to do this. So I give and I used to laugh at people that say this, and now I laugh at that former version myself, because all the glory goes to God. These are all the gifts that he gave me to be here to do this at this time. As Will said earlier, and I remind you guys all the time, each of us has God-given gifts that we can bring to this war, this narrative war, this spiritual war, that we can help. And like I said, it doesn't matter if you can't figure that out. At a minimum, just don't quit. Just don't give up. Like if the majority of us just don't quit, God is going to see us over the finish line. There's a lot more that you can do once you've handled that part of your life and you've sorted that out, that, okay, I've gotten myself strong enough that I know I'm not going to quit. Now, what can I do more? And Winter65 is a great example of that in the chat. She started a Substack. I had her on one of my shows because she had been in the chats on shows that I'm on. We started telling her story, and she has a great story about her strength, about how she was abused as a child. And she's strong enough to tell that story, to feel that pain again, in order to help other people heal it, in order to help other people get past it.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's really huge. That's not a small thing. We each have something like that we can bring to the table, even if it's, and please don't take this the wrong way, even if it's just coffee. It's not just coffee. We already talked about that. It's much more than that. It's planting a flag in the ground saying we the people are in control not only of our country, but all the industries that we have as well, including coffee. We're not going to buy your blue hair, gender confused, body piercing, tattooed coffee anymore. No offense to people that's just how they are. But like, again, I don't want to go to coffee shops anymore because they're like that. If there was an America Rising coffee shop in Montana, by the way, great idea. And you don't know me anything. If you ever do it, I hope you do. I'll come and visit. You could have like a real cowboy coffee shop, right? Like a real American mountain coffee shop. That's not like hipsters can come if they want. Just don't act like an idiot because we police ourselves here. That kind of a vibe.
Yeah, I was just thinking if we actually do that, which we've discussed it, we're going to have some security 24/7.
Yeah, exactly. Well, again, in America, you can do that. You'll have some customers that will be there all the time. Montana versions of my dad that are fine to stand there drinking coffee all day, strapped up. And, some of those people, because they've been through so much, they're a veteran or whatever, they're just actually hoping somebody does something stupid so that they can end it. I'm not that type of guy. I hope that somebody does. I got my first gun ever. I just started training. I hope I never have to use. I got a Glock 19 Gen 3.
Good.
Today was the first day I ever went to the range by myself without any instructor. Didn't shoot well, but I wasn't nervous at all. I was very calm and focused. So that was a win for me. Again, all of us have to learn things and to get involved in things like coffee or firearms or health, wellness or food or whatever. Pick one. We all have to learn things that we've never known before because we, the people, have to fix this country. That's why Empower Us, the podcast, is going to be very important. I'll be a guest on that anytime, and I could sit there as you've heard and talk glowingly about Montana all night because I literally dream about that multiple times a week. Like, I just want a place in Montana where I could be by myself and not be bothered by anyone. But, until we get to a certain point in this war, that's never going to happen for me. Because while children are being taken and abused and ritualized and murdered and all that stuff, if we can end that, then I'll go get a cabin in Montana.
Yeah, it's an uphill battle, and it's because we've allowed it to go so far downhill. And now with our current administration or any Democrat administration, it's going to be even a tenfold battle because they're not helping. They're causing it. They're the problem.
Correct. Yeah, this is infiltration from within, and everybody, for pretty much everybody that watches this show, are Trump fans. But even if you're not, Trump is the one that brought attention to that. Our enemies, our most dangerous enemies, are not abroad. They're not out there. They're here right now, and they've been raping and pillaging this country quite literally for generations. So again, it's up to us to fix that. And that's why I'm so glad to have met you and to be a sponsor of this awesome product, America Rising Select Coffee. Awake, not woke. Enjoy the smooth taste of liberty. Guys, if you go there, you can use promo code DRZ393 and you're going to get a discount. So you'll be helping me, you'll be helping Will, and you'll be helping veterans get service dogs. I mean, if that's not a win-win-win, I don't know what is. So please support this company, support Will. We'll have you back if you want when you launch your podcast or any other big news that you want to break. We're happy to help you with that. Like I said, I'll come on your podcast. But before I let you go, a couple of quick, funny questions we always do at the end of the show. So we got to get to know you a little bit. What's your favorite kind of ice cream?
My favorite ice cream?
Yeah.
Oh boy. I would have to go with Most Tracks, or what's that other one?
Grand Slam.
Grand Slam. Yeah.
But you got a great producer /wife/ boss. She's awesome right there when you need her.
I couldn't do any of this without her.
That was great. I'm just surprised you didn't say coffee. Come on. America Rising coffee ice cream. Let's go.
There's another market.
Yeah, let's find a patriotic ice cream company. I'm sure you got some dairy farms out there near Montana, if not in Montana, that you could align with.
We
That would
probably
be
have to go to Nebraska for that.
Yeah, well, that's not too far.
No, only 1,000 miles.
Yeah, right. Okay, a question we always ask. It's very controversial. That's why I ask it, because it's fun to see how we argue over the most ridiculous things as Americans. But pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Yes.
I'm sorry, we're going to have to cut, producer. Again, I think it's funny because people feel very strongly, usually one way or the other. I've only had one person say, yeah, I could take it or leave it. It doesn't matter, which I thought was interesting, because most people are like, definitely or definitely not.
Well, it depends on the pizza too. Canadian bacon and pineapple. Absolutely.
Not for me, it doesn't.
Pineapple on pepperoni? No.
Yeah, right. No, I agree with you there. But I'll say this. I support everyone's right as Americans to put whatever toppings they want on your pizza. Just don't expect me to eat certain toppings, because there's certain ones I'm not going to. All right. You're in sports broadcasting. Did you play sports? Do you have a favorite sport?
No, as a matter of fact, okay, so the sport that we were filming and broadcasting was dog agility.
Oh, awesome.
Can you believe that?
Yeah.
It was really cool. It kind of fell in our laps. I started when I was a firefighter. Well, let me back up just a half step more. I've always been kind of a geek. I've always loved gadgetry, electronics. Went to school for electronics, and in the Air Force, I was in electronics and communications and all that good stuff. So while I was doing the firefighter thing, I wanted to get a camera. I've always wanted a real camera, a broadcast kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I got one. And I started filming our neighbor practicing for the rodeo, because Montana, right? And other people saw me filming their kid, and so then they wanted their kid filmed, and the whole thing just kind of spiraled out of control. And I was filming every rodeo there was. If there were 2 horses in Montana talking about flies, we were there. Until Obama, and the economy crashed. And of course, that crashed. But at the same time, the dog agility people picked us up. And I said, dog what? So we started filming that, and filmed the championships and did broadcasting. And we even wrote a screenplay revolving around the sport of dog agility.
Oh, wow.
We thought we had Henry Winkler to direct it, but that kind of all fell through. But we're still dreaming. So if we sell enough coffee, we'll do a movie.
There you go, guys. Get up there and buy that coffee.
So yeah, help us produce this movie. Buy our coffee.
Yeah. Well, we had a lot of businesses come up tonight. You're going to make, from coffee, you're going to make movies. You're going to have an America Rising coffee shop in Montana, America Rising coffee ice cream.
And ice cream?
Tell the boss over there, we just created a whole lot more work for her to give to you.
Yeah, she's shaking her head no.
No, it's good. I'm on it. In all seriousness, I'm glad you guys are starting small. It's very smart, and building it as a boutique brand so that you build the foundation from the ground up. Yeah. And again, we want to support this. Like I said, I'm going to connect you with other podcasters. British American Patriots, one of them who's in the chat now. He says he needs a good voiceover actor for his ad. I agree. And if you've ever heard the British American Patriot, he does shows, and he's been on a few of mine. He's got like the most awesome, deep voice with a British accent you've ever heard. So maybe a not.
Oh, that sounds cool.
I don't know. It could be ironic. We could come up with an ironic thing with the British accent and American coffee. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to have your British American Patriot work on your American cowboy accent. Now that would be funny. A British guy doing an American cowboy. Now we're on to something. See, this is why we do these.
Are we?
I don't know. Probably not. But we're having fun, and that's what counts. So listen, I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for getting involved in the fight. Empower Us sounds like a great podcast. I look forward to that. Guys, get out there and buy some America Rising specialty coffee, right? Awake, not woke.
I'll get you the corrected logo.
Thank you. Enjoy the smooth taste of liberty. And just again, to remind you one more time, if you go to americarisingcoffee.com and use code DRZ393, you're going to get discounts, which is going to help me. You're going to be buying Will's coffee, which is going to help him. And you're going to be helping veterans because they donate money to veterans to help them get service dogs, which is a great charity to be involved with, and a local one to you that you support there. So very, very awesome. I love how you're keeping it local. The brand is based in Montana. You're based in Montana. Podcast is going to be based there. Keep it up. Let me know what I can do to help, and we'll have you back soon to tell us how it's going.
Great. Well, thanks for having me on. It's been a real honor. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. You're welcome back anytime, brother. God bless, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All right, there you have it, guys. Will J. Evans from America Rising Coffee. I hope we've made a good case for you to go out there and try that coffee. It's seriously awesome, and you're helping a great cause, a bunch of great causes by buying that coffee. You're helping Will, you're helping me, you're helping veterans. I mean, again, that's what else can you ask for? Want to say a special welcome to all the new subscribers that are here for the first time this week after watching the SG Anon interview that I did. Again, just to wrap that story very tightly, I told a long version at the beginning, trying to kill time while people got here. But I had a long weekend, was thinking about, should I be doing this? I'm working really hard. The return is not great. Is there something else I should be doing in this war? And God said, nope, you're doing the right thing. Keep going. And SG Anon posted that interview. It was already the biggest interview I had ever done with 43,000 views on this channel. It's now just gone over 100,000 views on his channel. So that reach is incredible. I don't say that to pat myself on the back or to inflate my ego, but again, I do this because it helps people. You heard me talking about Winters and encouraging her to be out there and be more vocal about telling her story so that she could help more people. The more I encourage you guys to help people, the more the people you help then go help people. As I said before, Dan Radio Style calls that the ripple effect. It is very real. It is very important. We, the people, have to fix this. No one else is going to do it for us. We are the saviors that we've been looking for. That's why I encourage you to be like Will J. Evans. Go start a company, a patriotic company. Start a patriotic brand, maybe about something that you didn't even really know about like he did. And you can turn it into something very cool like this. Look how awesome this brand is. America Rising Specialty Coffee, awake not woke, enjoy the smooth taste of liberty. I mean, that's amazing. And the coffee is even better than that. So welcome to all the new subscribers. There is a new Substack out I just put out. That's at philosophy.substack.com that tells in detail that story of the SG Anon episode and the weekend I had and how I went through this sort of emotional trauma after the full moon of like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Is it working? Do people even care? Do people, you know, and then all of a sudden God was like, dude, chill. I got this. Just why don't you just keep doing what I ask you to do and everything will be fine. And I think that that's good advice, not just for me. I'm saying it out loud because it's good advice for everybody out there too. Take your cues from God, from source, from creator, from the universe, whatever word you want to use to describe that thing that is way bigger and more powerful than any human word you could ever dream up. None of those words do it any justice, not even God. I like to use that word. Use whichever one you want. But take your cues from that place. And the way you connect to that place is through your heart. I was given a dream many years ago that said faith. And I was told it stands for fostering awareness in the heart. That's what faith is. That's how we connect to God. That's how we connect to our higher selves and our soul and all that stuff. The fear, the anxiety, all that stuff comes from up here. That's the mind, the brain. It's just a computer that runs this flesh suit that we use. And don't get me wrong, it's very important. It's got a lot of great apps. It's really cool. It's just not as intelligent as your heart, and it never will be because your brain can't connect to that place. Your heart can. That's how you connect there. So that's my advice to you. As I always say to you guys out there, and again, whenever I say advice to you, it's always to me first. That's why I do it. But just remember that we're not always going to agree. We don't have to. We're not always going to like each other. We don't have to. We just have to love each other, and we just have to stick together. We, the people, are the government. We, the people all over the world, are in control. All we have to do is act like it. All we have to do is get out there and do it. So go create a new brand, create a new product. We have to take over every industry by patriots. They've all been infiltrated by Marxists and communists, and money rules the day. Well, we need to take that back from them, not because of the money, because ultimately that's irrelevant. In spiritual ascension, when we get to the fifth dimension, there isn't going to be any money. There's just going to be abundance. But while we're here, it is useful. It is a useful resource to help fight evil, right? And that's why we should support brands like America Rising Coffee, because they're doing something that goes beyond the product. It's actually meaningful to us taking back our country. So that's why we spent this whole episode talking about that. But just before we go, we'll hit the other sponsors real quickly. SOTESarasota.com/shop. Again, you got to take care of your own health and well-being. I highly recommend this. Is my sister's place. There's lots of great products there. Check it out. Link in the description. Everybody knows My Pillow. My promo code is Dr. Z. The pillows are great. The towels are amazing. I have got the new towels, and they're just like first use. It dries you off. It doesn't push the water around. It's incredible. The mattress topper I sleep on every night. It's like sleeping on a cloud. I have the slippers. It's like walking on a cloud. I love those products. So go and get yourself some and use promo code Dr. Z. And again, we know there's a financial crash coming. So let's be prepared for it. Protect your assets so you don't have to kiss your assets goodbye. Get silver in hand at KirkElliottPhD.com/Dr.Z/DRZ. I think that's all I have for tonight. Excuse me. Let me check the chat and make sure I didn't miss anything from you guys. Winters put up the Substack link. Thank you very much for that. Check out Winters. Put up your Substack link too. Please go read Winters' Substack. She's an incredibly love-filled being who is shining her light brightly. She has transmuted her pain from a very traumatic childhood into a very powerful voice to help people heal their trauma. So I highly recommend you check out her Substack. And let's see, there isn't going to be, I'm going to be at the Great American Restoration Tour, the Badlands Media Conference this weekend in Cocoa Beach. So I won't be doing a Wicked Red Pill podcast on Friday night. Maybe I'll try to do something from there. I don't really know what it's going to be like. I mostly just want to hang out with the guys and gals, the podcasters, and also the audience members, and just get to know Patriots and talk about all this stuff. How do we encourage each other to just keep doing more and keep going, even when we don't feel like it, which, you know, is going to happen a lot until we get to the other side, until we have that huge win where the whole world is now mostly awake. And we know that we can see it, that we already know that we can't lose as long as we stick together. But one day soon we'll see it, and then that'll change everything. Until then, we're going to fall into despair. We're going to get tired. We're going to get cranky. Just keep going. That's my advice. Whatever happens, don't quit. I love you guys. I will talk to you soon. Oh, I am going to have a show Monday night before Glitch in the Matrix. Glitch in the Matrix will be on at 7:30 at the Glitch in the Matrix channel. Here, I'll be having September 11th. So how are we going to honor that? I'm going to have a comedian friend on, because during really hard times, sometimes we need to laugh. And my friend Jason Lefkowitz is doing a comedy special in Los Angeles in a couple weeks called Changing the Climate. He's a viciously funny, in your face comedian, and he's very awake. So you're going to enjoy this episode. I'm not sure if I'm doing it as a Patriots Behind the Mic or a Glitch Please yet. I think we might do it as a Glitch Please and bring that back, get that going again. Anyway, Monday at 6, there will be a show. I hope you guys have a great rest of the week and a great weekend. I'll be talking to you from Telegram and Truth. If not, here on Rumble, you can follow me at Philosophy for All if you haven't already. Please make sure you like this video, share it, comment, subscribe. Tell everybody about America Rising Coffee, please. Seriously, I make very little on this. Every little bit helps me, but it's not about the money. It's about lifting up this patriotic brand and showing that we, the people, can make a difference, just like we did with Oliver Anthony, just like we did in the negative with Bud Light and Target. When they didn't support our values, we said, well, we're just done with them now. We are we're not the silent majority anymore. We're the vocal majority. We have all the power. All we have to do is exercise it. So get out there and exercise your power. I love you all, and I will see you all soon here on Patriots Behind the Mic.